to read everything to you, but this is the first school that I've ever been at where I see so many volunteers and just parents wanting to be helpful. And so why does it matter? Last school year, it has been reported that 100 volunteers came to ROCS to help in various situations: book market, volunteers, building, outdoor maintenance, carpool, front office help, library homework. I mean, the gamut. You all provided that last year, and of course we would like to see that happen again this year and even more. So that's why it matters that we volunteer. How do you volunteer? You're going to fill out a background check, you're going to attend a training or watch it online, read and sign the policies, and then watch for sign-up opportunities through the nutshell, which my goal is to send the nutshell every Friday so that you all know what's going on in the building, but then look for volunteer opportunities so that you can sign up. Always check with your child's teacher or the school before coming to volunteer. It needs to be more of an appointment as opposed to a walk-up volunteer situation. Okay, the policies. Abuse, this may be something new that has been put in. Anytime you as a volunteer or an adult suspects child abuse, which is sexual abuse, molestation, or neglect by law, you must report that. If you do feel like you need to report something that you've seen while you were volunteering, administration just needs to know so that when we get those calls back, we'll at least know that a report was made. And volunteer and staff members should never be alone in a room with one student. If you find yourself in a room with one student, you are asked, typically we like 2 adults, but if you ever find yourself in a room, someone's napping, they're not up, it's just you and that student, the door then needs to be left open. Of course, the Family Education Rights Privacy Act, this is a big one. And I know it comes from a great place because this is such a community-based school, kind of community-oriented, but we really have to be careful about not discussing other people's children and try to only discuss your children with other people. If you need to talk to a teacher about your child, you can do that at another time, kind of a private appointment, but try not to do that during your volunteer time. And if you're seeing things happening with other people's children, that you just protect their privacy and not share that out in the greater community. Harassment, this is that new language that is now in there. Of course, we are committed to providing a work environment free of discrimination and unlawful harassment, actions, words, jokes, comments based on a person's sex, gender, race, ethnicity, religion, national origin, disability, or any other legally protected characteristic will not be tolerated. As an example, sexual harassment, both overt and subtle, is a form of misconduct that is demeaning to another person, undermines the integrity of the relationship, and is strictly prohibited. I know that's a lot of language there. We see that in all kinds of places of work, but that is also policy for our volunteers. Again, ROCS does not discriminate on the basis of race, sex, religion, color, national or ethnic origin, age, disability, military service, creed, marital status, or economic and social status in its policies, programs, activities, admissions, or employment. Social media, please do not discuss students, staff, or volunteers on social media. If you have a concern about the school, make a private appointment with administration to discuss your concern. This is an area that we really need to focus on this year, and we will focus on that this year. General guidelines: when you come, check in at the office before going to your volunteer area. After check-in, go directly to your designated volunteer area. Let teacher or staff know before you leave the room with any students. Refrain from using your cell phone or screen devices in the classroom or hallways. Refer all disciplinary issues to the teacher or another staff member. Use appropriate language, topics of discussion around students. Report any injury or behavior issue to the teacher or staff immediately. If you have any questions about policy, rules, routines, ask the teacher or the staff for clarification. Interactions. This is also huge. Staff and volunteers are prohibited from speaking to students in a way that is or could be construed by an observer as harsh, coercive, threatening, intimidating, shaming, derogatory, demeaning, or humiliating. We know that no one would intentionally do that, but just being mindful that even if it appears to someone else that you are talking in that manner, just be mindful of that. And this is a new one that had to be put in our staff handbook and our volunteer training manual. I know that there are some things that seem like common sense and like they don't need to be said, however they need to be said. So inappropriate physical interactions with adults and students, full frontal hugs, kisses, showing affection in an isolated area, lap sitting, wrestling, piggyback rides, tickling, allowing a student to cling to an employee's or volunteer's leg, any type of massage given by or to a student, any form of affection that is unwanted by the student, the staff, or the volunteer, compliments relating to the physique or body development, and touching, of course, bottom, chest, or general areas. So we included this because there may be a time that you are here volunteering and a situation does happen where we have to lock the building down. We just want to make sure that even our volunteers know what that looks like. So in the event that there is an armed or dangerous intruder, we will come on we have the ability to use the phone system and our walkie-talkies to radio, and we do not use codes. We just simply say we are in a lockdown. Staff and volunteers will check the hallway and bring any student or staff into the closest classroom. You will lock the door. All of the doors are in a locked position. There is a magnet that keeps it from catching, but in the event that there is a situation, you just slide the magnet up and close the door. It's already in locked position. You will move students away from windows and doors and turn off lights and be quiet. We have trained our staff the locations in their rooms where to go, because we have those big windows, but they have all located a place to go and hide. If you are in the multi-purpose room, this room right here, or the library that does not lock, you need to exit immediately to the closest classroom if possible and lock down in there. Do not open the door for any reason. Make note of any students who are not accounted for. Like, you may have had 2 students, one went to the bathroom, they're not with you, just know who that student is, but you cannot go out and search for them. Once there's an all clear announcement made, that is when the threat is considered to be over. So that's kind of intense. However, we have to think that way now. So when you're in a room, just kind of in your mind know if something were to happen, how you would get out of that room or protect yourself and the kids you may be with. So for a fire or evacuation, volunteers and staff members have the authority to pull the alarm. If you see the smoke first, you do not need to get clearance or permission to pull the station to activate the alarm. If you're ever in that situation, you can pull it, and that signals everybody to leave the building. When the alarm sounds, exit quickly and quietly out of the perimeter door with your red emergency bag. You may not have to do that, but if you see your teacher or whoever you're volunteering with doing that, that is the process. You will follow the primary exit route. Every room has a primary exit route and a secondary. It's over the light switch in all of the classrooms and all of the rooms in the building. You only take the secondary route if the primary one is compromised. Get at least 20 feet away from the building and do not go back into the building until you've been instructed by an all clear announcement. Medical emergencies, we do have a medical team here that have been trained with CPR, first aid, all of that. And even as a parent, you may have all of that. Of course, you know when and how to use that, but you also don't have to wait to contact the front office or administration. If there's an emergency happening in front of you and you know that 911 needs to be called, you have the authority to call 911. You will just radio or ask someone from the medical team. You know, we've been trained. We know if you say, I need someone from the medical team, everybody knows who we all are, and we will come. If it's, you don't move the student unless they're in an area that it can harm them, like in the middle of the street, you would move them. However, don't move them because they may have an injury that could be worse if you move them.
Okay, so it's really simple. Just follow those things and we don't have to take your name off of the list. And I say that very lightly. However, you all do know that there are times that people may say stuff to kids and that all ends up kind of on my desk. And so I just want to make sure that we are respecting people's kids, your kids, the adults in the building. We're all here for one reason, and that is the success of our school and the success of our students, and we know that. However, we have to put that sentence in there that if you are not following the outlined expectations, then we will have to take your name off of the list. Okay, so thank you guys for coming. Please volunteer. The teachers have been like, we need our volunteers. Can you please get them trained?